Dear friends and family, welcome back to Building Zion. This is Marlene, and I wanted to share a few thoughts about temporal preparedness. So I've done a few other videos about temporal preparedness on our channel here, Building Zion, and they've been mostly about, cooking with food storage, how to cook with it, what to do with it. And then I've also made quite a few videos more about spiritual preparedness, sharing different gospel doctrine studies I've done and going through the whole topic with you. So when it comes to preparedness, we need to remember that both spiritual and temporal preparedness go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. I've heard all through my life growing up that, it's more important to be spiritually prepared than temporally prepared. And it's not true, because the prophets have told us forever to be temporally prepared. And so if we're not doing the temporal preparation, then we're not really spiritually prepared either. And, that's not to say that we have to be perfect at it right now and have all of it done right now. We need to be working on it, doing the best we can to be spiritually prepared and to be temporally prepared. So I know there's a lot of debate within the LDS community about how much food storage should someone have. All the way back to Brigham Young, he told the people that they should have 7 years worth of food storage. And then it slowly changed to 3 years, and then 1 year. And then more recently in the handbook, it said that we only needed to have around 3 months of food storage. So I wanted to read what was in the handbook as of today, which is, we're May 23rd, 2022. And it says under temporal preparedness in section 22.1.4, members are encouraged to build both a short-term and longer-term supply of food, water, and other necessities. And that's kind of all it says. I mean, it goes on to explain more about temporal preparedness and different things you can do. But as far as how much you should have for how long, it doesn't. It just says a longer term and a short term. And then I also wanted to read the letter that the First Presidency sent out to priesthood leaders. It was dated January 20th, 2002, and it read, "Priesthood and Relief Society leaders should teach the importance of home storage and securing a financial reserve. These principles may be taught in ward councils or on a fifth Sunday in Priesthood and Relief Society meetings. Church members can begin their home storage by storing the basic foods that would require to keep them alive if they did not have anything else to eat. Depending on where members live, those basics might include water, wheat or other grains, legumes, salt, honey or sugar, powdered milk, and cooking oil. When members have stored enough of these essentials to meet the needs of their family for 1 year, they may decide to add other items they are accustomed to using day by day. Some members do not have the money or space for such storage, and some are prohibited by law from storing a year's supply of food. These members should store as much as their circumstances allow. Families who do not have the resources to acquire a year's supply can begin their storage by obtaining supplies to last for a few months. Members should be prudent and not panic or go to extremes in this effort. Through careful planning, most church members can over time establish both a financial reserve and a year's supply of essentials." So, I want to point out that little line there that says members should be prudent and not panic or go into extremes in this effort. We are living in a day where I feel like daily we're hearing about new shortages, new political conflicts, wars, new diseases, new pandemics, new whatever. Just it seems like every day now. And so it's easy to all of a sudden, you open up your news, you listen to something, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, we got to get this. We got to do this. We're not going to have that. We got to have all this stuff ready. I know I've had those days when I've just felt like panicked. And you're like, it's too much. It's too much. How could we ever plan for all of the contingencies, right? And you can't. There's no way that you can. And so what do we need to do? First of all, we need to do what Heavenly Father, what the prophets have counseled us to do, which the concert of clarity is that we get a year's supply of food. And if we can't, because of financial circumstances, political circumstances, we get and we do what we can. And we keep building as we're able to. And then after that, we just build off of that, and you may find as you talk with Heavenly Father about the needs of your family, because like I said, there's no way you're going to be able to plan for every situation. And every family is going to have different needs. Different things are going to be happening in different areas. And so as you stay close to the Spirit and you talk with Heavenly Father, He will help you know what else you need to do in addition to those basic things. So once you have worked up, as it says here, through careful planning, most church members can over time establish both a financial reserve and a year's supply of essentials. So once you've got to those things, then Heavenly Father will guide you to know what else you need to get. Do you need to work toward 2 years of food storage? The whole 7 years? Or is Heavenly Father going to be like, nope, you're good with just one. You did a good job. Then He's going to help you know what family essentials you need. What else in addition? Do you need a special kind of medicine? Are you going to need a certain kind of, certain kind of sanitation equipment? Are you going to need, certain kind of clothes? How much of certain kinds of, there's all kinds of things. The list could just go on. And He will help you know what it is that you are going to need. So, and that's hard. That's hard because we feel panicky sometimes. But if we trust in Him, He will help us know what it is that we need to do. Once you've got a year's supply of food, then what do? I feel like, and I hear a lot of people kind of freeze up after that. They're like, okay, we have our food, but then they don't know what to do with it. They don't have a rotation set up, and they don't know how to cook with it. So first of all, you need to try and put foods into your food storage that you'll use. Plus, you need to have a couple different kinds of food storage. You need to have short-term food storage. That's more stuff that your family uses regularly. And you need to have long-term food storage, things that will last 10, 20 years, because there might be times when we do need food storage and then we don't need food storage. So those things can continue to stay on the shelf until it's a time when we do really need it. And it's there are also things that as things progress, things go on, then maybe we'll have the ability to share with others as well. So long-term food storage, and short-term are both important. After you start getting rolling with the food storage, first thing you need to do is set up a rotation. If you do not have a rotation, your food storage will end up being kind of worthless to you. And I say that because then you end up like lots of people have, like 20 years down the line, all this food sitting on their shelves that has expired because it's not long-term food storage, it's short-term, and it's way expired. It has bugs in it. It is stale, tastes horrible, and the nutrition value decreases. There's just not a lot of nutrition in that, so it needs to be rotated. And as you're rotating it, even the long-term stuff or the stuff that you don't really use very much, figure out how to cook with it. And if you just feel like, I just can't figure out how to cook with this, you need to start rotating that out of your food storage and not including that in your food storage anymore. Replace it with something else. And another thing, you've got to pay attention to the dietary needs of your family. If your family, like we just found out that my husband has some additional dietary needs, some things that his body is not processing and it's giving him health problems. So we've got to start rotating that stuff out of our food storage and find new things to put in. And I want to make a comment about some different things that have been going around on the internet lately. So there have been many different comments about the longevity of food, and even some things, said by scientists and professionals and all these things, saying that, whenever things really do go bad and we're facing starvation, that we're not going to care if the food is expired or how good it tastes or, how nutritious it is. And I would say to some extent that's true. If you are just starving to death, you will probably eat just about anything. So, okay, yeah, that's true. But I feel like that is giving some people an excuse to not worry about what they're actually putting into their food storage or worrying about rotating it. Do everything you can right now to make sure that your food storage is as healthy for your family as possible. Like, we're not to that point right now where we can't get food. We're not to that point where we're having to live off of 40-year-old flour. So do everything you can to make your food storage as nutritious and as healthy for your family as possible right now. We even have different vitamins in our food storage. We have protein powder. You can even get, if you can't do dairy, like we can't do dairy, there's the vegetable-based protein powder. There's lots of things that you can do to enrich your food storage, and then start rotating it. Don't let it just sit there. Learn how to cook from it. Okay, so I know I'm like harping on that. I feel like it's very important. I feel like this thing of people having all of this food on their shelves for 50 years, you're not going to want to eat that. And here's another thing. Okay, some people, it's storming outside. We have been needing the storm. We've been kind of pushing drought status here in Georgia for a while. The ground has been cracking under the grass. So thank goodness it's raining. Oh, and poor Minnie over here is freaking out. She gets scared of the rain, so I'll pick her up. But here's another thing. As an adult, you might eat food that's kind of gross just so you can live. Children most likely won't. Children, if you've raised children, most of you have raised children, I think. A lot of people have raised children. If they don't like food, even if they're super hungry, a lot of times they won't eat it. And so let's avoid those problems of starvation and starving because our food is so unnutritious that we're starving from unnutritious food. Okay, so now, in thinking about steps that you need to do to be prepared, you've got your food, you set up a rotation, you're putting good, healthy, nutritional food into your food storage. So then what? Then start thinking about some of the other things that you might need. You might need, medicines, things for sanitation, things for cooking, electricity. If you're able to store oil or gasoline, any of those things, start thinking about some of those things. When you go to the store, This is what we've started doing when we go to the store. Anything that is not a food item when we go to the store, and buy like aluminum foil, plastic bags, pea pads for these guys. Oh, make sure you've got enough dog food and cat food too. If you have a year's supply of people food, you need a year's supply of dog food and cat food. Toothpaste, toothbrushes, shampoo, conditioner, anything that is not a food item. When I go to the grocery store, soap, I buy two of them. One for us to use and one I put back. And I figure after a year of doing that, we'll have a year's supply of what we normally use anyways in our life. I won't be sitting around thinking like, well, what might we need? How much might we need? If I had to buy it during the year, then that's, after a year of doing that, that'll be about what we needed for a year. Okay, so you've done those things. Now you need to start thinking about some of the other ways. Now, you've got your supply, but now let's think about how you can be a producer or supplement your supply. So as I understand it, it requires about an acre of land per person in your family to feed your family, to feed one person, each family, I can't even talk. To feed each person in your family for 1 year, it takes about 1 acre per person. Most of us don't have that much land. So we have 3 people in our family right now, and hopefully another person coming, and then we've got 2 friends staying with us. That comes out to a total of 6 people. That means we would have to be planting 6 acres of food, and it would have to be growing and producing in order for us to live just off of that. That's not going to happen. We live in a little neighborhood, a suburban neighborhood, with an HOA that has told us you can't plant anything. So, sorry, I'm walking over here. My phone is telling me I'm about to die, so I need to plug it in as I'm recording this. So, I know that many of you are in the same situation we are. You're living in town somewhere with an HOA that tells you, you can't have a garden, you can't plant things, you can't have chickens, farm animals. They've told us that we can't plant trees outside. So then I started pushing them like, okay, well, can I do a raised garden bed? Okay, yes, we can do a raised garden bed. Well, what about all of our flower beds? We have flower beds, like, can we change anything in them? Okay, yes, we can do whatever we want in the flower beds. What about potted trees? Okay, yes, as long as it's not planted in the ground. Okay, so what have we done? We have a potted peach tree. I have all kinds. We've got raised beds that we're going to be building. We've got other stuff planted in bags, like sitting out on our porch and in pots. I expanded our flower bed. Made a new flower bed on the side of the house, and we have lettuce and zucchini and artichokes and lavender planted over there. So sometimes it takes being creative to figure out how to do these things, and of course our family could not live off of those. They would just be supplemental. But if everyone in your ward, if everyone in your community planted a little bit and it could be supplemental, then that means your 1 year food storage could turn into 1.25 years, 1.5 years. You could exchange things with each other. If I become really good at growing sweet potatoes and lettuce, then that means I can trade with someone else who is really good at growing tomatoes and zucchini or whatever, So think about that, how you can expand what it is you're doing, expand your knowledge, even learn like some foraging, what can you find that's around here, around your area that is edible. But whatever you do, be smart, keep preparing for things. Number one, follow the guidance of the prophet. Number one. Then once you've done that, don't reduce what he said by saying, oh, well, I think only a month. I prayed about it and only a month is necessary for our family. No, if you're hearing a concept of clarity that says 1 year food supply, that's what you need to be doing. If you're hearing a concert of clarity about something else, that's what you need to be doing. Then add to that. So take the concert of clarity as your minimum and then add to that and say, you know what? We actually feel like we need to have 2 years of food supply. You know what? We feel like we need to be doing this. Oh, water storage too. I didn't mention that one. Think about water storage. We think we need to be doing this. And maybe, one of the people in your ward, they're like, oh, we feel like we really need to be doing this. This is super important. But then you're like, you know what? That's not important for our family, but we feel like we need to be doing this other thing, that is super important. And it might be because that means you two can work together and exchange things and help each other out instead of planning and doing the exact same thing. Stay close to the Spirit is the number one thing. Remember, physical and spiritual preparation, they go hand in hand. You cannot have one without the other. They go hand in hand. And they go hand in hand because our prophets have warned us and told us for years to be physically prepared and spiritually prepared. You just can't have one without the other. So keep working on both. Thanks for listening to my little rant here. You know what? I'm not even going to say that. I appreciate that you are listening, but not for the sake of my YouTube channel here. It's for the sake of I've had these things in my mind and my heart and known that I needed to share them. And so if you're listening, it's because you're someone that I was needing to share it with. So that's why I'm grateful that you were here to listen. All right, I'm going to head out. I was thinking of showing you what I have outside, but like I said, it's pouring, thank goodness. We've needed that so much. Oh, I will show you this one little thing, though, over here. So this right here, you said, I told you that I have bags and of stuff that I'm growing and pots out on the back porch. In the bags we have sweet potatoes. And I've never grown sweet potatoes before, but I'll show you what I have here in the house. So these right here are the sweet potato slips we've got on the edge of our table. These right here, if you put them in the dirt, they actually grow better and faster than the ones that are here. And I've already taken a lot off of all of these, and these ones keep growing with just absolutely the best. Once you take them off the potatoes, you put them in jars to let the little root systems grow. And then once the little root systems start growing like that, I mean, that's really a lot. Some of them have much smaller root systems. See, there's just like a couple on that one. Once they really start growing, then you can plant them outside in your garden or in bags. Now, we decided to do them in bags because sweet potatoes are an invasive root. They will start to grow out under, or whatever you've got, out into like your grass or other garden areas. And if you're not really vigilant on top of them, then they will start to overtake, and they'll be hard to control. So by putting them in bags, they won't grow outside the bag. And the light is like really strong on me. They won't grow outside the bag. And when it's time to harvest them, you can just kind of dump the bag out into a bucket or a wheelbarrow or something, and easily take the potatoes out. You're not digging into the ground. Same thing with regular potatoes. So we're hoping that they do really well. It's the first time we've done it, but now is the time to experiment. It's the time to experiment with cooking with food storage. It's time to experiment with planting. And I mean, honestly, probably the time to experiment with all that has passed like long ago. But if you haven't done it up till now, start now. Start everything you can now, experimenting, growing, cooking, and I mean, as far as physical preparation goes. And then also be diligent and focused on your spiritual preparation as well, for yourself, within your families, within your wards, everything you can do. And that's all I have to say for now. So I will see you next time, and I will have the comments open for this, so if there's any comments you want to add. If anybody wants sweet potato slips that lives in the Georgia, Augusta area, I have lots of them. I'm just growing extra, so that if any other people want them, they can grow them too. Just gotta share what we got. Get everybody growing. All right, take care. Bye.